So another thing I want to ask about is the role of Ukraine in the 2016 election, because this is something I believe was recently brought up in the news, was saying that Russia is now backing this narrative that Ukraine was influencing the 2016 election or was trying to play some role. So I guess repeating that is effectively repeating a Russian talking point. But I don't know if either of you can just give a bit of insight into what that underlying claim is that Ukraine may have done something during the 2016 election.
I can say quickly that, so what do we accuse Russia of? We accuse Russia of attacking the country, of committing a Pearl Harbor 9/11 like cyber attack. That's an analog we'll often hear on MSNBC, and for stealing emails that expose corruption inside the Democratic Party. Okay? That's what Russia's accused of doing. Well, what did Ukraine do? Ukrainian officials leaked information about Paul Manafort that exposed corruption by Paul Manafort, and it actually was consequential. It led to his resignation. Basically, they leaked what was called the Black Ledger, showing secret payments by the party of the then Ukrainian President Yanukovych to Manafort. Now, those payments might not even be real. The evidence amounts to some handwritten notes, and so it's not even convincing. Not that Paul Manafort wasn't corrupt in Ukraine. He totally was. But Manafort has disputed the authenticity of these documents, and actually, I've not seen even independent confirmation of them. But regardless, whether they're real or not, the point is the leaking of the Black Ledger was done to weaken the Trump campaign, as Ukrainian officials openly discussed at the time. It was in the Financial Times in August 2016, and it was consequential. It led to Manafort's resignation. So it's not exactly what Russia is accused of doing, but there are a lot of similarities. But yet there's this effort to deny that ever happened and to dismiss it as a conspiracy theory when it's documented. Also documented is the fact that a DNC contractor, Alexandra Chalupa, met with Ukrainian embassy officials in a bid to dig up dirt on Paul Manafort. And we don't know the full story there and to what extent that led to the leaking of the Black Ledger that implicated Manafort, but it was all happening.
And I think what's interesting about this is that if you watch the way this is covered, there's a lot of noise around the semantics of, what are we calling help? What are we calling interference? And what are we calling meddling? It's just exposing corruption when it's Ukraine releasing information about Paul Manafort. But as Aaron points out, that's kind of exactly the narrative of Russiagate. The difference being, I guess you could say that the DNC letters were hacked. There was a court case about this as well in Ukraine. How legitimate that was. I think it was subsequently overturned. Is that right, Aaron?
It was overturned. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but to say that there's nothing at all on that to that story, to the idea that Ukraine somehow was involved in the 2016 election or interfered. I mean, it's just a semantic question, no matter how you want to look at it. Do you want to call it interference? Do you want to call it meddling? Do you want to call it help? Whatever it is, they had some kind of an impact on the election, or at least they tried to. And so it's I think there's a lot of arguments just around the wording here.